Welcome back. When we last left off, we spent half an hour fluffing around me poorly explaining game systems, and we started getting a look at our British rivals, our British friends from across the sea. Soon they will be the French channel. 4 12-inch guns, the Royal Sovereign class. 9 inches of belt armor, so the same as us. The same speed, probably a little bit heavier. And I don't know why the game has built 3 different types of ship. Oh, here we go. So here's something different. This is a 10-inch, yes, a 10-inch battleship, slightly faster, but also with less armor. Now, we don't have any idea what the rest of the armor on this thing looks like. When they start building new ships, we can steal plans, and we can have an idea of what most of the ship will have. But for right now, our knowledge of that is limited. Here's something interesting for you. Single gun turrets, single gun main turrets. 2 10-inch guns. With a lot of secondaries. The British in this game have placed a huge emphasis on secondaries on their heavy cruisers. I'm not sure if that's something that's been put into the AI, but as you can see, so the AI cheats a little bit. It's given itself light AA guns about 20 years early. 4.5-inch belt, acceptable. Our heavy cruisers are more heavily armed. If you remember, we have 6 inches on our belt. Ooh, here we go. 14 6-inch guns. Interesting. So this is basically a mobile gunboat. This will just shoot 6 inches. This is probably for killing light cruisers with 6-inch belt. It is a bit of a cookie to crack itself. 8-inch guns. So this is similar to what we have. Yes. Our one is faster, but slightly more expensive. I don't want to spend too long on these. So we will just check out the competition. 9-inch belt, 18 knots of speed, 9-inch guns. 9-inch guns, okay. Unusual. They too have gone for a secondary build on their main class of battleship. In fact, all of their battleships. Interesting. Victoria Louise, you have 9 inches of 5-inch belt, but it is a faster ship than our line. Ooh, a more heavily armed ship, but the gun doesn't have the guns to crack its own armor. And it is slower than our ship. That's interesting. And we will just take a look at the battleships. Delaware, no, someone's going to be happy with that. 4 12-inch guns, pretty average across the board. 18-inch speed, 7-inch belt, so slightly less protected. I don't know where they've put the extra tonnage, perhaps in the guns. But we will see. Perhaps they've just got a lot of floating board there. Currently, they're in the process of building their next class, the Montana. 50 years too early, but the game does have a limited list of names it will produce. Yeah, that is due out next year. We have no idea what that will be like. Japan. Oh, Japan. Japan isn't too far behind. She will have less battleships, but comparable quality. That may change. Japan suffers pretty badly through the 20s. The Kaiser class from... Oh, good lord, that's not even 10,000 tons. Making 19 knots, a 6-inch belt, 9-inch guns. Don't be too cruel. Maybe that's all they can afford. Like I said, Austria-Hungary is if you enjoy pain. The Roma class, very comparable. So the game will respond to what you build. So if I had gone with perhaps 8 inches, maybe we would see more 8-inch belts. And 16-inch speed, we would see less speed. but we are dealing with 8 inches. We can see just the overview. Not many people building everything. The USA is trying to catch up. We may wait a few turns just before we start building anything else. Austria-Hungary has laid down another Kaiser class. Great Britain has laid down their new Revenge class. A couple of coastal batteries. So every turn in game is 1 month. So sometimes we will have 3 battles if we're at war. Sometimes we will have 1. I have no control over what the battles may be. We will carry on as we go. And we get a lot of these little messages. What's happening around the world. Great Britain has laid down a 2nd battleship. Japan has ordered a heavy cruiser from a British yard. And it's also ordered a second heavy cruiser from a local yard. Speaking of local yards, we will spend a bit of money to increase the size of our own. We have an unfortunate amount of unrest. Very unfortunate. And we'll carry on. So we'll go a few turns and then we'll try and see if we can get... so we have some intel on what other people are building at a speed of 21 knots and 1.5 inches. So a light little ship, Cincinnati. 20 knots and a belt of 6 inches. Here we go. So our scientists, the eggheads, are having trouble how to make a big destroyer. Typical. Now, if I was playing France to true historical, we would be focusing a lot on light forces and torpedo warfare. However, I don't see... Ooh, here we go. Here's an event for you. Internal upheaval in Java. Great Britain is apparently sending a force there ostensibly to restore order, but is likely to have more far-reaching plans. What do we want to do? I don't want to issue an ultimatum. I do not like the idea of the British getting more colonies. So we will join the international force, and Great Britain reluctantly recalls the expedition to Java as an international force arrived. So we got there in time. As you can see, the British did not like that, however. They're not happy with us. And we are not really quite prepared for war. We want to be friends with perhaps the Germans. Or maybe the colonials, maybe the Americans, perhaps even the Italians. Although France never needs help, it is only to make sure it is a done thing. We may, however, build a couple more light cruisers just to keep our costs down. A lot of light cruisers being built. A lot of light cruisers. Problems of the double bottom. So our armor penetration has improved, which is why we went for a little bit of extra armor. And we're getting intelligence reports. Ooh. Okay. We will keep our eye on that. Austria-Hungary, what is your response? So politicians will do this. Politicians will love doing this. I'm going to take the prestige. Prestige is important in the early game. It does affect I believe it affects your budget. And you may find a game over if it gets too low. Hydraulic recoil, gradual rate of fire improvement. Cool. So that will automatically go onto every ship as part of the maintenance cost. Yep, our heavy cruiser that we had being built is improved. Ooh, we are 1% more efficient on our machinery. and crop armor, gradual improvement armor quality. So the next battleship we design will be slightly more efficient, all of 1% more efficient. And better 11-inch guns. So we don't use 11-inch guns, which is a crying shame, but if we did, we would have to refit the entire French fleet. We are now deemed proficient in our gunnery tactics. Oh, here we go. Fire control, coincidence rangefinder. So we don't need to refit, that will automatically be added to our ships as well. They are close. Yeah, I won't be happy until you do it. Hydrostatic valve, that is a torpedo upgrade, which will be interesting. We could curb our naval program in the interest of peace and stability. I don't want to go to war. We could lower the budget. We will not lower our navy unilaterally. Exactly what we want. Much talk with no results. Keep the politicians busy. Thank goodness we do not have a central monarch to keep building palaces and royal yachts. So the Chansey has finished her working up. 12-inch battery. I hope that hammering isn't coming through. So as we can see in our ships of service, we have the Chansey, which is our newest ship. She has finished her working up, which means she's ready to deploy. She has a fair crew, not a good crew, a fair crew, which means they're competent. The ship won't be sunk because someone forgot to turn on the bilge pump. She is currently based in Northern Europe, and because of that, her upkeep cost is manageable. Passing one out to the colonies takes a little bit more resources. We may just move her to Southeast Asia, because the Japanese are looking at me sideways and I don't like it. Enables secondary guns heavier than 7 inches in casemates or single turrets. So for our next battleship, we may put some 8-inch guns on. And won't that be fun? We will get confused even more by the dozens and dozens of shell splashes going on every time we fire all of our different armaments. The Prime Minister wants to hold an international gathering with a sailing regatta and competition. We'll strengthen our international standing and lessen tension, but the money to finance the event will be taken out of the naval budget. The Navy supports this excellent initiative to foster international understanding and gain some prestige. Submarines. So we cannot build submarines yet, but if we do build them, they will be all of 5% efficient. We do have to wait a few cycles of submarine upgrades before we can actually build the smallest one. I really don't want to start trouble. We'll take the slight tension. We can build new destroyers. There's not a lot we can do with the extra 100 tons, but we will take a look. See what the game thinks. So it wants to add some extra guns along the side. We can add a second gun along the rear. I will take out these 2-inch guns though. Nothing I've seen actually does anything with a 2-inch gun. 27, 23 knots. Can we go to 28 knots? But we will only have 1 ton. For whatever upgrades you can get out of these. Please pick a name I can pronounce. The Kakwa. I was afraid of this. Okay, so there's not a lot we can do with that. We could... That may be the way to go. What we can do is add We don't want forward wing, we want port wing. Single turret. It's not as efficient as our old design, but it will get the job done. $18.5. So it's more efficient to have more turrets, at least for now. I think once we get to 800. Oh, ship is overgunned. Okay. We may drop that down to 5 inches, 3 inches. What do you say now? Can we go to 28? Not without risking everything. Very well. Very well, keep it as that. And that will take 1 month to develop. He wants to build at least 21 additional destroyers. So he wants to double the size of our destroyer fleet almost. As you can see, we almost have the most destroyers in the world. So yeah, this is going to be a very, very French playthrough. We can actually build 21 destroyers. Yep. What did we call it? The Carquois. I'm going to call it the Carquois because I don't know what else to call it. So we'll build 11. And we will build 10 more. Probably just in time for the president to ask for more battleships. Actually, how are we on the battleship front? We are falling a little bit behind. So we may just design a new battleship. Pre-dreadnought. 13-inch guns again. The 13-inch guns are still no good. And I would rather have a little bit more shot. What we are going to do, however, is go a little bit mental on the old heavy guns. And we will keep that at 4 inches. 4 inches? 4 is good. 4 will see us through for now. So belt coverage is narrow. We don't want that. We want normal. And our weight shoots up quite spectacularly. No matter. Belt extended. We may drop the belt extended. And I actually prefer having more protection on the conning tower and more protection on the turrets. Turret tops 2.5. We may drop that down to 2. 4.5 inches of protection. That will be fine. 14,800 tons. What else can we get? We may just put an extra 5 shells per gun on. That's good. And it will take 3 months to develop that. North Korea, if we send an expeditionary force to restore order, there is a chance we can take it over as a colony. These things rarely turn out to be worth it, and I don't need to start a war just now. We like bursting charges, so our high explosive will be more effective. We are just about to enter the era where ships will be obsolete as almost before they come out of the yard. Ooh. One of our cruisers has run aground onshore of a minor nation while performing an illicit intelligence operation. They threatened to impound the ship. Go for the prestige. I will take the tension. Oh, here we go, the double bottom. Gradual improvement in damage control. Good, good. Safe fuse arming devices. So at the moment we have unsafe fuse arming devices. This was a different era. We'll say that. And we'll build 2 of these, I guess. Enough to keep France in the game of naval war. Power rammers, excellent. So we no longer have to push it in with a little push rod. The Jean Bart. Ooh, we missed out on that 1% safety machinery space. Don't wait for the scientists. If you need the ships, you need the ships. That's one thing I learned playing this game. We received much praise for building the requested number of destroyers, so our prestige has gone up. We may just... Where are we going to be competing in Japan for? Taiwan. We may just be a little bit prudent here. And improve some bases. Hammers. Hammers, hammers, hammers. It will be difficult to deploy the fleet. It will take them 1, 2, 3 months to reach Southeast Asia, but that is the only theatre we really have any concern about Japan from. So we may deploy the fleet to Southeast Asia. Let them know that we mean business. I'll keep the heavy cruisers here. I would like to send some escorts to Southeast Asia, just to protect them as they do their move, and also just to reinforce everything. So just in case we lose one destroyer, we are still able to deploy destroyers in the theatre. Germany is sounding us out about an alliance. This would be terribly odd, as there are still a lot of misgivings after the war of 1850, 1870, where France, unfortunately did not come out the victor. But we aren't playing as the actual France, unfortunately, so we will take that alliance, and suddenly Austria-Hungary is much less happy with us. However, it will probably make the Japanese think twice. Shooting competition for all ships. An excellent idea. A light cruiser wins the Prime Minister's Cup. Interesting. So slowly our shipbuilding is becoming more efficient. We have more ships in the Indian Ocean than our bases can support, so we may have to repair some ships. However, we will probably improve our capacity in the Indian Ocean just a little bit. And we may improve our base in the Caribbean as well. Perhaps the South Pacific. So it's more than just a wharf sticking out into the water. And for West Africa, Senegal, I guess we'll improve that. What is our other colony there? Middle Congo. Excellent. 20 destroyers. It's a hell of a lot of destroyers. Alright, so we can build submarines. I like having submarines. I like submarines, and I cannot lie. We will build 10 of those right at the start. They will not be very, very good submarines, but we don't have to worry about deploying them. They will manage themselves just fine. And our last destroyer from that massive armament build It's ready to go. Ooh, we are now at war. Oh, surprise attack procedure, access violation. Now, I'm not entirely sure what happens with these access violations. It seems to be very unusual. 2 battleships. Interesting. Excellent. Our alliance with the Germans has paid dividends already. Interesting how they have decided to attack. So close. We will see just what we're dealing with. I'm hoping these are destroyers and not something bigger that this ship is meant to be protecting. Ooh, she is not as good as our ships, although I don't know what the Stetson has. She is comparable to it. Our Jean Bart should have her outgunned. Should have her outgunned quite handily. Yep, those are escorting destroyers. And we are also faster than the Izumi. So we're going to go in. Jean Bart is firing, because Jean Bart has the range. Oh, Jean Bart turret jams. What turret has jammed? Of course, the front one. The one that's doing all the shooting. Give her the guns, boys. Give her the guns. Oh, our French destroyers don't know where they're going. That sometimes happens. Sometimes you'll see destroyers they'll be fine, they'll be following you around, and then the next thing you know, they will just slam themselves against the wall of the enemy. We are going to attack. I don't like that she's that close. I'm waiting for someone to shoot at her. Oh, she's pulled away. Oh, we have... Where's the button to... Main gun crews cut down by splinters. Ouch. Ooh. Jean Bart, take evasive action. Stetson, take evasive action. Attack around. How many guns do we have in it? 1, 2, 3, 4. Probably not the last one. I am waiting. Here we go. We're starting to get hits on her now. Oh, Jean Bart has taken a hit. It is not... Ooh, a little bit of flotation damage. Okay, so she got hit below the waterline. She should be alright, although, again, this is a bit of a different era. Stetson, I want you to take evasive action. Ooh. Turret destroyed. Right. So you have lost one of your main guns. Well, you have plenty to spare. Shell burst limited by coal bunker. One of the few advantages of coal, although there are definitely advantages with coal, is that occasionally you will get that message where it just goes into a whole bunch of inert coal and explodes and nothing happens. So the Jean Bart and the Izumi are now just exchanging phone numbers, getting the measure of each other. Ooh. I am disappointed that the Jean Bart not getting many hits in, but we will survive. Where are those enemy destroyers? So right now we have her cornered. There we go. As long as we can keep putting hits in on her. Engine room. Oh, I am not happy about that. How are you doing? Ooh. That is all for today. We will continue this next time. Our first battle is a small skirmish off the coast of Brittany. Nighttime will soon fall. Probably find this will be inconclusive, but I will see you next time.